Hello to all the voters of Washington State. I am Glen Stockwell. I am not running for a job because I intend on keeping only $1 from each year of my salary while I am serving you. Regrettably, we all know many politicians in all parties are corrupt and only lining their own pockets. Therefore, I will be making a web link for voters to view all of my office expenditures and offers from special interest by lobbyists during my time in office. I will serve 6 years for $6. I will be placing the remainder of my salary into the Washington State Economic Development nonprofit. Maria needs to go because she has been and is continuing to undermine President Trump, our country, and our state by standing in the doorway of Washington State and our nation's future for the next century, and only working for illegal aliens and not real Americans. I took my proposal to Maria in March and November of 2009, 2010, and 2011. After waiting 3 years for Maria to act, I ran in 2012 for the Senate office. Now, after an additional 6 years waiting for Maria to lead, I have decided to run again for this office. Maria has refused to act in Washington State and our nation's behalf. Please consider voting for change by voting for Glen Stockwell for U.S. Senate. Maria is also putting 160,000 Boeing employees at risk of losing their jobs to China in the next 15 years. Maria is also undermining Social Security's future and has stolen over $150 billion from Social Security accounts in 2015 alone. 50+ million Americans from all parties depend on Social Security. Maria has been stealing funds and sending Social Security money to Iran. I believe there are patriotic Americans in every party who can help make America great again for the next century by collectively asking our politicians to work together in a real bipartisan effort. When you elect Glen Stockwell to replace Maria, I will take charge of your American office and turn it into America's first bipartisan Senate office. I pledge to Washington State voters, Senator Stockwell votes with President Trump 100% of the time. If in 6 years I am not succeeding in bringing the largest economic development project to Washington State, I will not run for another term. That project being the completion of President Franklin Delano Roosevelt's Columbia Basin project and expand it to 1 million acres and help expand our Washington ports for the next century. By asking President Trump to sign my 3 executive orders, which will provide total funding with pre-existing revenues and no new taxes, and employ unemployed veterans. Since Lyndon Johnson opened up the trust account, over $2 trillion have been stolen out of people's retirement system by politicians like Maria. I will work directly with President Trump to make certain Boeing isn't lost to China like GM's ownership and TARP monies were transferred to China Motors. On his pledge to help secure Social Security by establishing a new Social Security offering which will return positive cash flow revenues to help replace the $150 billion Maria stole, and launch an investigation into Iran's $150 billion of lost assets of 9/11 and where they have been placed, on building the border wall and only allowing entry to through our international ports of entry, on helping DACA participants to obtain their legal citizenship only if they are not felony criminals, on reviewing all world options to replacing our broken medical system with a viable option, as he mentioned while campaigning in the Reagan Library in 2016, on all new tax system overhauls and specifically on tax breaks for all citizens, to reverse Roe v. Wade and stop the slaughtering of innocent American babies and create a new system of adoption facilities across America, to never allow the Second Amendment to be changed, and I will help elect constitutional judges to the Supreme Court. I will vote for a balanced budget amendment. I am praying you will allow Glen to become your next senator to bring to Washington State the second largest economic development project in over 70 years. and make certain that Boeing doesn't get transferred to China. Please consider voting for change by voting for Glen Stockwell for U.S. Senate. Please visit my website at Washington State Economic Development.